Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Hello and welcome. We are Del and Debbie's Mind, Body, Soul, and the home of invigorating talk and all things to do with health and well-being. I'm Del Lady Jones, and I'm a certified transformational coach and a 3 principles practitioner. And I help my clients achieve a more fulfilling, peaceful, happy life, regardless of their external circumstances. So, before I introduce my co-host here, I'd like to give you the phone-in number. We are a call-in show. If you feel so inclined to call in, it's 323-284-7826. And you can also post a comment or a question on our Facebook page, which we have up during the show. And now, to my side here is my wonderful co-host.
Thank you, Del. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Debbie Carlin Boyle, and I am certified as an integrative nutrition and health coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor. And I help my clients achieve balance through everything that feeds us in life, in addition to the food on our plate. And now, get ready, because we're about to have some fun, okay?
Yes,
so
we
here
need
we
it.
go. Our 2 guests knew they were finally ready to settle down in their 50s because they were done being single, which is also the name of their podcast. With a combined 107 years of single life, Treva and Robbie Scharf offer their listeners great expert dating advice. They open their toolbox of tips and bring on relationship experts on to help people get out of the dating hell and find true love. So, boy, do I need you guys. I need to get out of dating hell.
Yes.
So will you
I
please
second
welcome
that.
to our show, Treva and Robbie Scharf. Thank you, guys. This is going to be fun. I'm
Yes.
excited about
Yes.
today. Really, I am.
Yeah. Fun and informative. 'Cause
Yes.
There's a lot of really incredible, it's fun, but it's a lot of really great wisdom here that you share with your clients. So,
Yes.
okay.
But we start off all our shows with a little bit background, and of course with you guys especially because of being single so many years yourselves, there is background. So Treva, maybe we should start with you, where you were born and raised, your background, what you did, and then we'll go to Robbie, and then we'll bring both of you in and talk about how you met and how that all manifested from there.
Sure. Born and raised Beverly Hills,
Hey, me too.
Another local.
and I started my career as an advertising copywriter, and did that out of college. Continued to do that for many years. Freelanced, worked for agencies, and then 17 years ago, and I had a little foot in the fitness world in that I taught group fitness
you
pretty
did?
much wherever I lived. So in LA, in college, different colleges.
I love that. What kind of things did you teach? I saw that on the website.
Oh my God, this was in the 80s. This was
Okay,
80s,
so this was
90s.
like the Jane Fonda
right-
days when the
I
studio was
right
on
in there.
Robertson.
Mhm.
Yeah, I used to go. We probably ran
Yeah,
into
I
each
used to
other.
go there too.
So funny.
I was right in on the ground floor of the fitness craze, but never took it seriously. And until I started working at this treadmill studio here in LA, and one of the teachers asked me if I wanted to work with her private client. And at the time, I was still freelancing as a copywriter. So I had never worked one-on-one with anyone, so I took it on. I said sure, and I started working with this woman who was a mom at a fancy private school, and it turns out I did wonders for her, changed her body, got great results. As a result of that, she kind of put me on the map. So then all of her friends were calling me, and I suddenly just shifted and became a personal trainer. full time.
How old were you at
And,
this point? How you were,
38.
so you were still in your 30s. Yeah.
39.
Nice.
And it was great. It just was nonstop, and I loved it, and I was good at it, and I felt like I have a gift. I can really help people and heal people, and I've been at it ever since. So
that's what you
yes,
still
so
do
this is
today.
what-
So
yeah.
we do the same thing,
Yes,
basically.
yeah.
Yes.
And then, how much do you want me to? How far do you want me to go
I'm
back?
just,
here?
I'm curious
It's
about
only
your.
an hour show.
Okay.
How
Exactly.
not even.
But I'm actually curious because you were single for so long. So what was your life growing up? Were your parents still together? Did you have that
no,
model? Oh,
no.
okay. All right. So just touch on that.
Only child, latchkey child, parents divorced.
Okay,
When
all
I was
right.
7, 8.
Okay.
All makes sense.
And you have siblings?
No, only child.
Oh,
yeah.
you just said that. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
Oh,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a different type of only child.
Yeah, yeah. I went
What
right
was it?
past me.
Yeah.
So, so that was your role model.
Yeah.
To
Right. None.
yeah.
Yep.
Zero role model.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Okay.
your dating life in, your teens and 20s when you
Oh,
were
yeah,
in
I was just,
advertising.
Yeah, no, I was boy crazy in
Mm-hmm.
school, and that's what I majored in, and I was
Me
having-
too.
It was fun, and it was guys galore, and I was having so much fun, and I'm a late bloomer, and just did not have those, that calling
Mm-hmm.
to want to get married and have kids. I just kept thinking it'll happen,
Yeah.
it'll happen,
Through your 40s, you were thinking that.
and I just kept, another day.
Yeah.
And then I hit my early 40s, and the clock went off.
Yeah.
And then what? Did you start
then-
to feel the need to settle down so you could?
I actually, the first thing that I did when I hit my 40s was try to get pregnant, because I thought, shit, can I curse?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have my permission.
We're
I forgot to have, kids. Oh my God, I'm 41, 2, 3 years
Yeah.
old,
yeah,
and
it's more difficult.
I just thought, shit, if not now, when, if not me, who? So that is kind of when things started to change for me. I started getting more serious about my life and my future and the direction and my destiny. And when that, I was not successful. So I did set out to get pregnant and couldn't. And then when that ended, I thought, okay, I'm ready to get married.
Okay.
I
I think we should take a break.
Yeah,
here
and
bring
switch to Robbie, and then we'll
Robbie,
start,
and then we'll start the whole.
Yeah, set the whole thing up
Talk
on your
about your-
dating journeys from in
Yes.
your 40s on.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
Robbie, where'd you start?
Yeah, really.
Started when I was very young. And,
Where were you born?
Born
Yeah.
in Jersey, West
Oh,
Orange.
okay, East
Newark,
Coast
New
boy.
Jersey, raised in West Orange. My father was a mortgage banker. My mother was a interior designer, and we moved to California in 1964 into Brentwood and the Palisades, and went to a few different schools there. I have 2 older sisters, and we settled in Beverly Hills when I was in 6th grade, and I graduated from Beverly High in 75.
Wow.
About 6 years before Treva graduated. So we both went to the same high school. We did not know each other back then, but we had a lot of mutual friends. And what else can...
Well,
Well,
where'd
yeah.
you go to school, and what did you study, and what do you do?
I'm a musician, and I've been playing bass professionally since I was about 17, 18. And I still play a lot. But
In a band? Do you?
I play with a few different musicians in bands, yes.
Okay.
And
So were you always a professional musician?
even when I was doing other things, yes.
Yeah.
I was
Because it's a
working-
passion,
it
right?
is,
I can see
absolutely.
that.
I was working as an artist manager, and had some great clients. Worked with a company called Patrick Rains and Associates, and I was working with Al Jarreau and David Sanborn and
Gosh.
Marcus Miller and Wendy and Lisa and Amy Mann and John Bryan and Joe Sample and the Crusaders. So just wonderful people.
So you were part of that wonderful free musician's life. So you weren't looking to get married either?
Actually, never really crossed my mind. It was something that I thought would happen when it happened naturally, organically. I was not looking for it, and always had dates, girlfriends, but nothing really serious.
No long-term relationships?
A couple, and but nothing that I wanted to get down on my knee and propose to.
Mm-hmm.
No one.
So you just kind of let it flow and
Absolutely.
let it
Because
let
I knew
it go.
that's my parents. I had a very different upbringing than Treva because my parents were together, and I had, as I said, 2 older sisters,
Mm-hmm.
and my parents were just a wonderful, loving couple to me, and my sisters may have a different reaction to that, but no, I was 7, 8 years younger than my middle sister, so I was kind of a surprise. And they were married up till the time when my mom passed, and so they were. And my dad's still around. He just turned 97 last week.
Oh my
so
gosh,
he's
lovely!
wonderful,
Congrats on
Yeah.
that. That's
you.
great. Yeah.
And
Is
so
he still
what
here
they-
in LA?
He's actually lives in Todos Santos, Mexico.
Oh,
very
with my
cool.
oldest sister,
Retired.
Wendy.
Yeah,
Oh.
neat.
No, he's
So-
still working.
Retirement.
Did
Oh,
they
he is?
No, I'm kidding.
Jeez.
Did they have a good relationship? Was that a healthy role model for you?
I
I love the way you said they loved me. Did they love each other?
Yeah, I believe they did. Now, I wasn't aware of any issues that they may have had, but I think for me, it was a very normal upbringing. But normal is very subjective.
Well,
Relative.
and it's also relative to the time, like we were raised in the 60s, basically,
Yes.
60s and 70s when we were at home with our parents. And it's different than it is now in the mid 2000s.
It is.
Might have been for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you're off all grids. You don't count.
Yeah, my upbringing
That's your book.
was exactly.
Well, it was interesting because similar to Treva's upbringing, when we moved to Beverly Hills, a lot of my friends' parents were not together. And so I don't know if I was one of the exceptions, but that's all I knew. And so I valued that, and I wouldn't have asked for anything different.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Very cool.
Lovely. So, yes, so obviously, start describing your dating life, I would say,
Yeah.
in the last, 5, 10 years before you actually got together.
And
what
then
did it start
we'll
at?
get to how you
Yeah.
met and how this all,
Yeah.
the aha moment for the two of you.
You have a lot more stories than I
It's
do,
way more colorful.
Okay, go.
as far as she knows. yeah,
Okay.
sure.
I was a dating machine.
Yeah.
I
Wasn't that a Jackson 5 song?
dating. I'm
It
a
is
dating
now.
machine. Oh, baby. Okay. I was, because why not? That's what you do when you're single. You go out. You get fixed up. You go online.
Hello.
And that's and
hear ya.
that's what
We haven't
I did.
forgotten about you.
And I would say I was not ready to get married. I was, like I said, I wasn't one of those girls until I was ready, and then I was done trying to be married, and that's when we met. So I think there was a lot of there was a late growth spurt in my romantic life, unfortunately at that point when I did want to get married, a lot of the guys I was meeting in my dating pool were like, not interested, done it,
So you
been
were
there.
really picking
I
them
was
out
so
now.
SOL when I wanted to get married, and then I had a whole other sort of layer of frustration because I was meeting all these guys in their 40s ish 50s that were just getting divorced and didn't want to jump back in. And so I got so fed up and so frustrated, I said, F it, I will be single forever. That's it. That's it. It's off the table. I guess it's not for me.
How long from when you said that did you meet him? What was the time period
it
from when you
was,
said it's off the table? I'm just curious.
It came with my last boyfriend, a breakup of November 2013. And then there was, a couple really tough months because I was just about to turn 50 and I was in, a hellhole. I was in a bad place. And then I started climbing out of the bad place of the hellhole. And then a few weeks before my birthday, I thought, well, I have a choice. I could either have a pity party or like a party and celebrate being single fabulously and owning it. And so I opted for the party.
Good girl.
Thanks. And I don't know what possessed me, but first of all, I invited like half of Facebook.
Oh, it's too bad I didn't know you.
I know, because it was a great party,
I
and
bet.
you would have been there. History was made that night because we had been chatting on Facebook, not in the way you think, not like, hey, baby.
I'm sorry.
We connected. We were Facebook friends before we started talking.
We may have been. I don't know.
Or were we? Did you
sent
start PMing
Treva
me and then
I sent Treva a Facebook message because there was a mutual friend who was having some emotional issues, and a guy friend of mine, and that Treva was recently friends with, and just sent her a message saying, "Hi, I don't know if you know me, but trying to help my friend out here, and maybe we can do something together." And it was really a very
to fix your friend up. Is
Yeah,
that what you were
not
doing?
to fix him up, to fix
him.
Yeah.
Oh, to fix him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
To
needed-
help
He
was
oh,
go- he was going
personal
through some
training
emotional
and
stuff,
like
so-
that. Okay, I got
He
it.
actually needed our services like now because we're dating interventionists.
Ah, I
And
love
that's
that.
what he
That's
needed.
something I was going to ask you about. I
Yes.
love that. Okay.
And so Treva, she was kind of not really interested in pursuing anything as in terms of helping this guy out too much.
I know. I
So she was very nice to me, and she said, "You're a nice guy. You're a very good friend, obviously, and he's lucky to have you. And maybe we can meet sometime." It was just left at that, and I didn't hear anything from her for a few months. And then I was at
because I felt like shit. I was not in a good place.
And I was at Sammy's camera right after I just returned from visiting my father down in Mexico, and I had a little camera that broke, and I was there, and I saw a mutual friend of ours, Graham, at Sammy's camera. I started talking to her, and I was letting her know about a band I was playing with a couple nights later, and she mentioned to Treva that she saw Robbie Scharf at Sammy's, and he's a nice guy, and Treva says, he is a nice guy. I'm going to invite him to my party. And so I got a Facebook message saying, "What's your email address?" And I said, "Hi, here." And of course, now that I know Treva, it's so interesting because I didn't get anything from her for weeks.
I forgot.
And she's a little bit of a scatty. So
Scatterbrain.
So a couple weeks later, I said, "Were you going to send me something?" She goes, "Oh yeah, check your email." So I got something from her, and it was an invitation to her 50th birthday party, and I showed up with a bottle of Veuve Clicquot, and
Oh, smart.
Yep.
and I didn't have.
I love
I
that
didn't
you
have
pushed
any-
the invitation too. You said, "Wait, weren't you going to send
Well,
me
I
something?"
didn't- yeah, I didn't know
it
what
may
it
have just
was.
gotten forgotten, right?
forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And little did I know that set me off on what was going to be a life of forgetting from Treva, because Treva's very forgetful about
Now,
things. It's very interesting.
how long
She
ago
has
was
you.
this? Oh,
2013.
2013.
So we met.
5 years
We
ago. Oh, I
met
see.
on
Okay.
my 50th birthday.
Right.
On
At your party. Did you have a
Yes.
party at your house or you went? What'd you do?
I rented out a karaoke bar, just this dive place.
Fun.
in
I
Culver
read
City.
about this.
cool.
Okay, fun.
And then we went on a proper date the following week, and then cut to 6 months later. He popped the question.
That fast.
Yeah.
So and so I'm real curious because all this time you were in your 50s. So all this time you never felt like it. When did you know? Like, what was it? Did you just know on that first date or at her party when you met this chemistry? Did you know this is going to be my wife? I mean, how did that
I did
work
not.
itself?
I really did not. I thought that this was a beautiful woman, and we connected, and it was really, we were having a fun time, and there wasn't any heaviness to it. It was natural. Everything was just progressing. There wasn't any kind of pushing, pulling, which is a bad thing when in a relationship. If two people need to be on the same pace in order for it to be successful, I found. And we were just having a fun time. I had a beautiful loft downtown, and Treva lived in Beverly Hills. And so we were both commuting back and forth. And one night we were having this discussion about rents that we were both paying, and why are we doing this? We're spending X amount on this, and why don't we just kind of pool our resources and get a better place?
Smart.
And Travis said something about I can't do that without knowing where this is going. And
Smart.
at that
Not because I. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I feel like I need to interject.
Go ahead.
Please do.
Not for the reasons you would think, that a woman would say, I won't because I need a ring on my finger, or It was because I had perfected the art of being single. I was just, I'm not, it took me this long to get comfortable with it. I am not going to go, upheaval here to go play house with someone that I don't know where this is going. And so I was just I said, let's just keep going the way we're going and see what happens.
Yeah, and it wasn't any kind of ultimatum either.
exactly.
It was not presented in that manner.
Yeah, it wasn't ultimatum.
But this
at
was a
all.
really good, authentic
Totally.
take on what you had already
I liked my
perfected.
life, and
yeah.
I liked my single life, and
Understood.
it took a lot of work to
And
get
I
to
loved
that
mine
point.
too.
And then
Which she knew, which is why she
right.
Yeah.
So there was no pressure and no expectations,
Exactly.
and I was happy already. I was content where I was,
and
I-
you were exclusive dating each
Oh,
other
yeah,
at this
yeah.
point for sure.
Now
Okay.
Yes.
that actually, let me get back to that, because that's, I think, I mean, I don't know, when I was younger, when you dated somebody, you never had to have the conversation, is this exclusive? I don't know why, it just
Like
didn't
what we
come
were
up.
talking about
I don't
earlier.
know if it was in England or it was different, but here it seems like you have to have that conversation. When are we now exclusive?
I don't know if you have to have that conversation. Only if you're feeling insecure about the relationship is when you feel like you need to ask that question.
Well, but I also think there's a difference between expectation and agreement. So I think there's a lot of expectation that, well, if I'm seeing you and I'm sleeping with you, then we're exclusive. And that's an expectation.
Well, and I also think that the one who asks that question
Yeah.
is the one who might
Good point.
is setting it off on a new path. We have now converted this, whatever it was,
Yeah.
to something else. And
Yeah.
it's now different than pre-conversation.
Yeah.
So if the one who asked that question, they want that new path,
I
is
would
what
say
you're
that.
saying.
Yes.
They
Yes.
they want an
Okay.
answer.
Right. They want to know where they sit in this
and
situation.
I didn't care where we stood.
But if
You
he
didn't
was
care if he
dating
was-
other people, would you have
Okay,
cared?
here's what we had. We had two things going for us. Number one, I was fiercely independent. Okay, more used to being on my own than being in a relationship. Number two, he did a fantastic job making me feel secure, wanted, loved, and someone he really wanted in his life, as opposed to some of the other guys.
Nobody's ever
There
done
was
that
not
for
one
you.
minute that I ever felt like
That you were one
maybe
of
there's
many.
someone else or
Yeah.
no. Now knowing who he is, he gave me his full attention, and I like to say he did not drive with the brakes on. he drove,
Good.
and it was nice. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Finally.
obviously what you were looking for without really knowing it until you found it. That's what it's one of the things I say when everybody, when you're in the dating scene, people always say, "What are you looking for?" And I always my stock answer, and it's not just stock, but it's really true for me, is I'll know when I find it. I know when I have it. And that's really what you're saying, I think, is that
Yes.
you knew, because he was giving you what you needed, what you wanted, what you deserved.
He was a straight shooter from the beginning. He didn't play games. He was direct. He was everything you want in a man,
And a
and
partner and both.
really, and is to
Do you have a clone?
so different,
Good.
I hope there's a few out there, actually.
so different than what I was used to, and
Yeah.
There's a couple of funny things. Okay, so getting back to the moment I realized I was done being single was during this conversation that we had. It was on my couch at my loft, and when she said, "No, I have to know where this is going," and I said, "Excuse me 1 minute," and I got up. And when my mom passed, I had all of her jewelry, so I'm rummaging through something that I didn't even know where it was, and
it was a grocery bag.
Is that what you could hear him
it may
rummaging
have
through?
been. And
Yeah, that's funny.
I found an engagement ring of hers
Oh.
that I knew I had, and it was at that moment I proposed.
Whoa.
It's the stone, not the fitting. But
And
yes,
so that was spontaneous. It wasn't planned,
Totally.
obviously.
Totally.
If you were
I
rummaging through a
was-
grocery bag for that.
it was at that moment that I realized I was done looking.
Yeah.
I don't
This
need
is
to
a
I don't need to
lovely
look
story.
anymore. This is her. This is who I want. And I realized I didn't want her to go another day without realizing that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life with her.
Oh.
So that was
Okay,
what
we're
that
gonna
was all
start
about.
crying
So,
here.
and what was your reaction? Were you just shocked?
She
Or-
didn't think I was serious.
I kept
okay.
saying, "Get the fuck out of here!
This is a Cracker Jack ring
Get
or
out of
something.
here! Shut the fuck up!" And And then, because I know I've never been proposed to. I've never had a ring.
Were you down on your knee?
Yes.
Oh, the whole bit.
Oh, you did.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And I freaked out. First, I didn't believe it, and then I got a little like nervous. I panicked. I got a little verklempt. Got a little verschimmelt because
What is all of this?
This is the Yiddish. It's Beverly Hills girl, Jewish Beverly Hill girl
Oh
talk.
my God, I thought I heard gefilte fish.
Do you ever hear coffee talk on Saturday Night Live? Anyway, go ahead.
I was like, hey, we don't have to do this. Let's just keep going.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think you tried to weasel out of it.
I did. I said, we don't have to do this. We could just keep going because I don't know. It was that fear instinct because
Of course.
I don't know because nothing had ever worked out. And so I was so used to that I was on sort of like preemptive, all right, we're over, we're done. And I sort of put that out there. Like we don't have to take this next step because I was afraid of maybe taking the next step.
Oh, of course.
No, I
by right.
totally relate to that. When you're very, very comfortable living alone.
I was
and you're-
famished.
Famished. Have I got to learn that word? Am I famished?
And we're going to start, we're going to put things up on the screen with definitions for our listeners
Yiddish
right now.
flashcards.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. But yeah,
Sorry.
I can imagine that would be very, very. If I put myself in your shoes, I'd be terrified too. I'd probably want to run out of there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't quite know what to do with that.
because nothing lasted for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Nothing
So
ever.
why should
My
this be
parents
any
didn't
different?
last.
Yeah.
Nothing ever lasted. Nothing ever went the distance for me.
Wow. Yeah. So that fear alone can make you run for the hills. But so you thought he was joking, but eventually you obviously said yes. Was it there and then, or did you say I need to think about it?
After I got over my panic and my disbelief, I went, all right, let's do this. Okay, let's do it.
You're so funny.
I mean, it's quite a nice
Not
ring
the yes
there.
I was looking for. But okay, it's okay.
Take it
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
get
Second
it.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Maybe we can try.
right, like
Let's get divorced if it doesn't work out. That would be me.
Sure, let's give it a shot.
Oh God, that's
For a minute.
hysterical.
So
Okay.
you guys have you got married what year? That year? Did you get married?
2014.
2014. So you've been married now for 4 years. So we hit the 4-year mark.
just had 4 year.
Congratulations.
4 years last, 3 weeks ago.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
So at what point did you guys realize you have this ability to be relationship experts, and now you have this wonderful podcast, Done Being Single, and you bring on other experts. But when did you realize you have this gift to help other people?
Oh, I called myself a dating expert immediately. The minute I got engaged, it was like this angels just, this is your new life. This is your new career.
And I was never really comfortable with
And
the
he wouldn't
moniker of
take-
the expert. I thought, what does that mean?
and-
Really?
Just living it.
Yeah. Just,
Okay, so as we've been going through this show, and I'm out there doing research and finding guests,
researching.
and there's a lot of I mean,
know,
you're putting
too.
right.
Constantly. Yeah.
I'm joking. I
put
thought
it-
you meant researching by going out dating
No,
again.
no.
Okay.
It turns out that everybody and their mother is a dating expert. I mean, it's like everybody. They're either a dating expert or a love designer or a love architect or
Yeah.
an intimacy specialist.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so but what I think distinguishes us is that we did it. We were in the trenches for 50 plus years.
Experience as
We
always.
walked the walk. I know it like the back of my hand. I can tell you every mistake I made, and I can tell you what not to do. And I think Robbie can too. So the blog was born when I.
So it started with a blog.
It began with
yeah,
the ring.
I love your blog. I
Oh,
have
thank
a
you.
few of the
I've-
names of your blog
Thank
that are
you.
just that I really
I
love.
want to touch on the 3 dirtiest words in dating.
Yeah.
Those were amazing.
Filthy, dirty
Yeah.
daters.
Yeah, because we have to dig into
Yes.
that online dating, being
Yeah.
fixed up, dating
is-
at different ages.
This is part of where I was able to bring something to the table. I felt was at our age we have a lot of our friends that are either getting out of relationships that have been married for 25, 30 years, have kids, and they're finding themselves not connecting with their partner anymore. And so they're newly single and they don't know how to navigate single life. And here's 2 people that have been doing that up until now. And now we're finding like we're a couple, and now they are single.
Yeah.
And I used to use the term my male friends that were becoming single were cryogenically frozen at 25
Yeah.
when they got married. But when they are now newly divorced at 50 or 55,
It's a new
what
game.
happens? It's a new game. But
Yeah.
when they were last single is who they are going after, which is 25-year-olds.
Right.
And that is
to start a
exactly who-
family with, which
it's
is a
not-
whole different story.
Not
no.
all of them.
No,
Yeah.
not all of them.
No, I
but
would
some of
say
them
maybe
definitely.
your friends, but
Well, I had some.
Not
Yes.
my friends wouldn't do that.
your
Yes.
music friends.
No, but
You know,
so-
your rock guys. I don't know.
And so-
yeah.
But you're saying when they were first single, they were going after 25-year-olds.
Right, and
but
then they get
don't,
married,
Yeah,
and then they're
now fast forward,
when
they're in their
unfrozen,
50s.
now they're divorced, and now who are they going to
They
go
go back to
after?
the
They're thinking of
25-year-olds.
25-year-olds because that's the last time they dated.
Yeah. Right. That's
So
all
that-
that's because it's familiar.
And
Do you
that
really
was a big
think
mistake.
it's that, or just
I think
no?
I think it's that for the first round, and then they get slapped around. They realize, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I've got nothing in common with this person. They're attractive, but it's not really for me.
Yeah.
And they should be dating.
They
age
want to
appropriate.
sow some wild oats because they have freedom. Now, that can be true for women, too, because I was married for 35 years, and then suddenly I was thrown
How's that
into the
possible?
single world.
You're
I'm
only 37. How's that
Yeah.
possible?
Started early
Don't look
too.
at this is 37. But yes, so I was with the same person for 35 years, married for 26 of those 35. So suddenly in my mid-50s, I was thrown into the single world. And, I want to have some fun. So if women do it, men
As
do
you
it.
should.
And then, but I'm never with the intention that this is who I'm going to settle down with. And then it's been 7 years, so things change now. And now I'm done having fun, where I think you go through that stage too when you're first dating in your early 20s and looking for a life partner. I think you go through the wild, sow your wild oats side. A lot of college students, whoever you just, it's almost like putting notches on your bedpost at that point.
That
but-
wasn't me. No, I sowed all my wild oats before I got married. So I didn't get married till I was 32, and I had a really great dating life before I got married. So I didn't feel that urge to it, because a lot of people, when they get together when they're sort of in their early 20s or even out of high school or college, they really do need that time to experiment. I've done a lot of experimenting.
Yeah, I was 19.
So when I got divorced, I really wanted age appropriate. I wasn't looking for anything younger.
Yeah, so it just depends on but that's what I'm saying. It's a mix of men and women who maybe after a long-term relationship, and mine just happened to start in my teens,
Exactly.
suddenly are free. And then I was. And so I used that freedom, not with the intention of settling down with somebody. I knew up front the realism. Plus, I have kids now in their 30s. So that would be silly for me to go younger. I mean, that they wouldn't even allow it.
But you could. I mean, women do.
They
Especially,
do.
especially when they're coming
All
out
the
of
time.
sexless, loveless marriages.
Yeah, but I didn't. That
I
was
mean,
the
it's fun
thing.
for
I
a
had
little
it.
while, I guess.
We had
I think when you have
love
sons
marriage.
as well, I have 2 sons. There's no way I could look at a man that was close to my son's age and think that,
I still couldn't. My daughters wouldn't let me go there. Their boyfriends wouldn't let me go. And there's something about, like you said, what do I have in common with this person? I really can't go there for the long term. Now, having said that, never say never, because I'm still single and I don't know where that's going to take me. But I think that
Jarvis,
after a certain age, that there's a certain maturity and a certain mindset that's familiar to me, that I think is the only way, as you well know, probably from dating I'm assuming in your dating life you guys date at all ages, young, older.
I don't know. Let's
younger.
find out. Let's ask them. So did you, what did you, yeah, I mean, both of you answered that
You
question.
must have tried it all.
I skew older, so I think the youngest guy was 4 years younger than me, and I thought he was too young.
Yeah.
Even
See?
that was just
that's-
that was a little mashuggy thinking.
Mashuggy.
Wait, we're going definition? No.
I'm going to get the Jewish.
Afterwards, I'm going to give you a
Yiddish
really
is-
quick
Okay, a little lesson.
little lesson.
Yiddish.
My boyfriend is Israeli. I should know all of this.
Yeah.
Does he use Yiddish? Yeah, Yiddish is a real.
It's very sexy.
Yeah.
And really?
Oh, yeah.
Robbie talks dirty to me in Yiddish.
Do you?
He does.
As far as she knows.
Oy vey schmear.
That's so funny.
That is this.
So
Okay.
now we're relationship experts.
Yeah.
The two of you. And so what? Where did the idea of the podcast come from, and how long have you been doing it, and what is it exactly? Tell us.
Well, I think
And when?
it stems from her blog. It really did, and I think we had a producer contact us about taking it to another level, and simultaneous to that, we were also talking about doing something in this realm of possibly helping people, and we didn't know how this could manifest itself. And then we thought, maybe a radio show. And so we did a proposal. We pitched it. It got approved. And we were on the air as of February 17th, our first podcast.
That's
Wonderful.
just so lovely.
Voice
How do you
America
like
Network.
it?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It's-
but I
It's
love
every
it.
It's a lot
Saturday at noon Pacific time,
Yes.
right?
We record live. It is on live, and then you can download it a few hours later. And it's on
Okay.
iTunes, and you can download it, or the Voice America
So you
Network.
listen to it live on iTunes, right?
You can. I don't think
No, you
on
can't?
iTunes, on the Voice America Network only.
Oh, on the
live.
Voice, and
Yes.
that's the website you
That's
go
the
to, the
platform, right.
platform, right?
Yes.
And we have call-ins. We've got answer emails, and we
It's
have
been a
a lot
hoot.
of fun.
We do.
Yeah.
It's actually been a real
So
trip.
tell us about
Oh.
the shows. What kinds of subjects have you, hit on? Because I know we talked earlier about online dating and how that's.
We are not afraid of
An issue.
tackling some dark subjects and some
And
subjects that
what would be an example of
Yeah.
a dark subject?
Don't let your childhood stop you from finding love.
Yeah.
That was
That's a good one.
That wasn't necessarily, a like laugh riot, but Robbie we have sound effects, so he'll always make a
Make
depressing
Take
situation
take
fun
some of the edge off.
It does.
We that was a heavy episode, but funny in its own kind of heartbreaking way.
Yeah.
We
what
talk about
else?
sex. When is the right time for dating people to have sex? When-
Oh, let's talk about that.
Exactly.
It's always a popular subject, and it was amazing for me to hear women
I need
say,
advice.
like, give a definitive answer. Third date. Oh, really? I mean, I've never heard anybody come out and say it's got to be the third. It has to be. And then we had somebody call up, and it has to be the first date, which we thought, oh my, really? And because that's really fascinating to me is. It's so telling when a woman is saying that, I have to have sex with a guy on the first date, because otherwise, why pursue it? Why go any further if it's not going to be good?
Bad strategy,
It's
though.
such a bad strategy.
strategy.
And it was so telling of the low self-esteem of this person that was saying that she needed to have sex on a first date to find out if there was any future there. And so that was.
That was a good
very,
episode.
Yeah.
So you want to know?
So, yeah,
you know where
yeah.
it was?
So-
Hang on, one
I
second.
don't-
I have to follow up
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Why do you perceive that as low self-esteem?
Okay.
If they were doing it to entrap somebody, I can understand that's low self-esteem. But what if a woman just really, literally just fancied a really
I
good...
was just going to say
There's
That-
nothing
that's
wrong with
not-
that, but
yeah.
then you're not in it for a long-term relationship, are you? You're only in it to have sex that night, because you're not really
I don't know
thinking
about
long-term.
that.
well, but what I was going to say is I think it's an individual thing.
Yeah.
And if there is undeniable chemistry and you just sort of can't help yourself, then,
Then
who
you
knows?
prolong
It
it.
could
Then you-
last.
then you hold him
you're,
off.
You're saying your advice is
Absolutely.
to hold off.
Why would you go there on
Okay.
the first date? Make it last. See how long you can go without jumping in the bed. You can always do that.
Okay.
That's easy.
Okay.
What's not easy is saying no.
Men, listen
All
to
right.
him.
And
All right.
so this is
yeah,
something-
so I like this coming
now,
from a man.
if
yes.
you really wanted just that, by all means, go for it. I'm not saying
Okay.
don't do it, but don't expect the relationship to go beyond that first date.
So has a guy having sex on the first date, then the woman is a definite no for the future. For the
not
long
necessarily,
distance.
but I think that
That's all I'm
in a
asking.
guy's
Just
head,
asking.
you're
I know,
going
I'm
to
just
you're going to
asking
be
for a
you're going to be
friend.
yeah,
I think
Yeah,
that-
absolutely.
so on the hot
As-
seat
as-
today.
And not me. I'm not the friend she's asking for.
well, that's okay. I don't think
Should have
I don't
qualified
think
that.
she's not in the room, right? But I think that as a guy, you can't help but think, okay, that wasn't too difficult. I wonder if she does that with all of her dates. Number
okay.
one.
Nice.
Number two is, boy, that was really. That didn't
Jarvis
take any
shaking his
effort.
head.
Yeah, I'm attracted to her, but you know what? Look at her too over there. Wow, she's kind of cute too.
Or number three, that
or
was the best sex I've ever had. I want
That
to
was the
marry
best
her.
sex. No,
Yeah, see,
that will.
individual.
I don't think that will ever happen. I don't think that's
You
going to
don't
happen.
think?
No.
Okay, so
I don't think that's going to
And
happen on a
Jarvis,
first
we have
date.
2 men in the room, by the way, folks.
I don't
so
think that's going to
our
happen on a
engineer,
first
who's
date. Even
also
if it is the
single,
best sex you've ever
is
had,
saying it isn't going to happen.
I think
Okay.
that's something you still want to pursue and have a second date and third. But you may never achieve that height that you achieved on that first date for whatever reason. It can never hurt to not it can never hurt to say no.
No, I agree.
Okay.
We're just having
That's good.
fun.
Yeah, we're
here.
having
What's
fun
the
with you.
hurry? You
No,
know,
but,
that's
Exactly.
but
what
let's
I
go back
say.
to self-esteem, because
Yeah.
I think that this is what I believe was the issue with this one caller, is that she had the need for that physical connection, that's how she yes, this is what she felt she could offer the man the most in this relationship, and she didn't know that. She's not thinking of a second date. She's just thinking, I
That's
have
the way you
him.
get it- that's the way you get a
Possession is
guy.
9/10, and I'm going to keep him. And maybe tomorrow, and I'm going to go nuts tomorrow, but I'm going to keep him now. I don't know what she was thinking, but to me, I think self-esteem is where it is deriving from, or low self-esteem.
Well, definitely, if they think that that's their only value and that's how they can keep something,
Yeah.
that's definitely an esteem issue. But there are a lot of women that would just feel entitled. Not entitled is the wrong word, but just why not? Why not just?
That's
Power
okay.
to
or,
them.
or
And
it's been a
that's
long
fine.
time, want to have
Right.
some fun,
Okay,
and this
so
guy
it depends what you're looking for and where you are
Yeah.
in life.
So,
and if you
'cause
are coming
that's
out of a
different.
marriage that
Yeah.
there was no sex, and you are so in need of a confidence boost and a morale boost. Absolutely.
But
Okay?
again, that's
But
self-esteem. But if you're just
but
doing it not for that, but just you
beware,
purely want to have sex.
caveat emptor,
Yeah.
buyer beware. If you do that, you have to be prepared for no call the next day, no follow-up text, no second date, because you gave it up too soon. And okay, so it's up to you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Are you you have to ask yourself? Are you in it for the relationship? Or are you in it for the
It
sex?
depends
for the
what
night?
you
Yeah.
want.
No, exactly.
If
That's
you
what
wanna
I'm
see
saying.
this
If
person
you're in it
again,
just
some
for
fun,
fun,
if you want
yeah.
a friend with
Whoops, I'm
benefits,
so
you want
sorry.
a
And I want to know that
buddy.
if you said no to a guy, are you afraid you're going to lose him?
No.
No,
Never.
I've
Okay.
never
What
been
is
afraid
your
of that.
fear of not having sex that first night? Is there a fear there?
No,
'Cause-
I'm just saying sometimes, seriously, women that feel a little more liberated feel that they don't have to play games, and that if they want to have sex that night, why shouldn't they? And there's no low self-esteem involved. There's no game playing. There's just purely like, hey, why not?
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Because she's not thinking anything beyond that anyway.
As long
Yeah.
as she or he
you're
communicates
sort
that,
of
if you
on that
communicate that to
page,
your
yeah.
partner, you know,
Yeah, but if you're looking for the long term, then
Yeah.
you're saying
I would say wait.
So okay, so you're in. So let's go back. So
Yeah, we
we're
have
in.
to
You're
cover some other
interested. I know. So you're interested in somebody. What is there sort of what is the proper time date? How many dates you should wait?
When it's right for you both.
Okay, so that is.
There's no.
As long as it's not the
There's
first
set
night.
So it could be the
date.
second time.
It could be the first night. I think that I don't know, the connection between you and this person. It has to be mutual.
Yeah.
Again, that push me, pull you thing. You don't want to do that. I want to pull somebody into the bedroom. I don't want to be pulled into the bedroom necessarily. I just want us to kind of go hand in hand and on the floor and the couch and the table. So it doesn't matter. So I think that is something that's very important, and to recognize that and to nurture that and not embrace that in you.
So
No, I
to
think
recognize
that's
that, what
great.
are the red flags someone should look for when they know that someone just wants sex?
You're being pulled.
You're being pulled. Okay. So
somebody's
is it
yes.
somebody who's using, language to
Someone who
kind of
comes on too
flattery.
strong.
too strong,
Yeah.
flattery,
Yeah.
Someone
overwhelming? Yeah.
who
Okay.
is just overly,
Don
I've
Juan.
I've had that really recently.
too much PDA.
So
Yes.
so
Yeah.
recently I had that.
It
And
doesn't
too
matter who
fast.
you
walked
are.
away.
Just this sexting too soon, which is that is just a
Okay.
no.
Okay.
No sexting. No,
Good.
no.
Actually, I'm not a texter. I don't like
Oh my
texting.
goodness, we're running out of time. I have some important. I just want to ask this other thing. Because it's so out there right now, and I know one of your blogs talked about this, but like the narcissistic personality that just sort of, because we just mentioned it now, that sort of moving too fast, putting you on a pedestal. They basically have you fit into the picture of what they
Yes.
think is perfect for you, and then God forbid the real you comes out and you're not matching up with their picture, then they just dump you.
Right. Well, interestingly enough, you must be psychic, because this coming Saturday's episode is called "Bad Boys and Crazy Chicks, Are You Addicted to Chaos?"
So people
Yes.
crave it. Yeah.
And
they put
I
themselves in that
find- okay,
position. It's
so-
familiar.
Right. So I find that the bad boy is characterized by men that come on super strong, either are super unavailable, or love love bomb you.
Yes,
that is a
totally.
word.
Yes, there is. We've
Love
done a
bombing.
show. I specialize in narcissistic abuse and recovery.
Okay,
so,
you know what I'm
And
saying.
we've done a
exactly.
whole show,
Yeah.
half a show on
Okay,
that.
and then there's a push and a pull, and advance retreat, and it makes you crazy and nuts, and it makes it hot, and then you think that's good because it's hot, and it's not. So
Yeah.
that's what our episode is
exactly,
going to
but-
be about.
But when you grow up in a chaotic environment, I mean, normal is chaos.
Yes.
So anything that's like boring, it's like
crave
that you feel like
Yes.
you're dying.
Yes.
So you look for that chaos and that's your.
I did.
Yeah,
That was
I did
me.
too. I was crazy chick with.
I did.
bad boys.
I had my one sick relationship, and that was it for me. I got it out of my system. But yes, and I was kind of used to a certain dynamic in my home as a child.
And you went to the familiar.
And a certain, kind of a father that was my primary male,
Well, your first love, your
role
father's. yeah.
yes. And
And if he's absent, you're going to look for absent
yes, and
men.
he, I say this every time we do a show. I hope they're not listening. I hope they're not listening. I hope they're not listening. But my dad, post-divorce, was pretty broken. And I was so young. So I grew up with a dad that was, needed
humbug attitude about
just like
relationships, probably.
sad.
Yeah.
And I thought, all men must be broken. So I guess I have to
no
fix
wonder.
everyone.
Yeah,
Wow.
become the codependent.
Yeah.
So either I fixed them and I split, or I fixed them and they dumped me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Before we run out of time, I want to hit on online dating because we
Yes.
touched on it before the show. Well, I want to hear your opinions, for both of you, what your thoughts are on that, kind of in a nutshell, what you think about
Okay.
it and how can you really find love that way.
Okay. Now?
Yes.
save it
Yeah.
now?
No.
You wanna
No.
go?
Whoever wants
The
to go
answer is
first.
yes. My advice is be as honest as possible with your picture, with your profile, with your age. Because if you are not, there will come a time when you do meet somebody that you will have to divulge the truth. And at that moment, that might be when you have already gone out or talked or spent 2 months over the phone talking, then they're going to see, wait, you don't look anything like your picture. So the honesty is the best policy is my only advice there.
Right. It's a good one. Definitely.
This is why I married him.
Yeah.
Robbie Scharf has more integrity than any man I've ever met. I really, honest. I mean, you're hearing this now. This is who he is. So thank you. Thank you for being
Thank
you. Okay, online
So
dating, it's fantastic. It's a great use of the internet. I'm all for it, but it's not everything. So,
Okay.
It's just another way to meet people.
yes.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
great supplement to IRL, which is in real life. Okay.
I think we're fans of meeting quickly. After you
Yes.
get a connection
Yes.
with somebody, don't prolong it online, because if there's no physical chemistry when you finally meet, think of all those hours and weeks you wasted communicating, whether it's on email or something else.
No, exactly.
So,
Very true.
And do you, before we lose everything in time here, do you fix people up? I mean, do you guys think of yourself as matchmakers?
Yes.
Do I?
Treva
All
is
right.
very good at this.
my
she has a
God.
couple of real successful
I know she met me and she's like, "Can I
stories.
fix you up?"
What
That's
the-
what you
and
said the first day
hello.
I met you. You said that.
There's a
Am I-
couple of clinkers also, so just be aware, but that's
No, no,
okay. They're
no,
not
I-
all
well, it doesn't
winners,
mean
but
they
that's
all have
okay.
to be love connections.
No, but she's very good at
I'm
this.
really good at it.
And she's
Yeah.
got a nice intuitive sense
I don't know
about it.
why,
Funny,
but
yeah.
I actually am very.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, before we lose time, we can always carry on. But give us your websites again, how people can contact you, phone numbers. everything like that.
DoneBeingSingle.com. The podcast is Done Being Single. They can find us on Instagram at Done Being Single, at Twitter at Done Being Single. What else?
It's a done being single
Or you
world.
can email
Yeah,
us
the
at
Late Blooming Bride
Oh, yes, then
website
there's
too,
my
which I like, which is
All right,
a
so-
whole different separate thing.
TrevaBrandon.com. TrevaBrandonScharf.com.
Yeah.
just became single again.
Yeah.
See, I'm still getting used to it. The LateBloomingBride.com is my blogs.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
And you say
which are
is
lovely.
there a book in the works?
And there's a book in the works.
What's the book going to
Fabulous.
be called? Do we know?
The Late Blooming Bride tells
Oh,
Great. Okay.
So lovely.
all those single girl stories.
Yeah.
And any advice, final advice for our listeners? You know, words of wisdom that you can both leave us with.
I'd say don't give up hope. Okay, here we go. Lose the expectations. Lose them right now. Okay, that just will lose the desperation, lose the expectations, and what was the other one? Don't lose hope.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
Beautiful.
How's
Robbie,
that?
are you on that page?
I'm absolutely there. Yes,
Okay.
of course.
Well,
You guys are
yes.
fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
again,
much.
people can listen to your podcast.
I love a standing O.
Great. Quickly, your podcast again.
I'm kvelling.
I was just going to say we need a Yiddish word there.
Okay.
Done being single.
You can find it on iTunes, Voice America Network,
Voice
Saturday,
America.
12 noon Pacific time.
Okay.
And you can email us at trevaandrobbie@donebeinsingle.com.
There you
Fabulous.
go.
Okay,
Thanks again,
we're
guys. We
out
got
of
to
here.
say bye. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.